Hi and welcome to my Mounjaro Journey Weekly Update. Coming up, it's back, I don't like it and I want it to go away again. Did my new chest arm exercise machine get rid of my moobs and turn them into pecs Arnie will be proud of in just 7 days? Not quietly, but stick around to find out what happened there. What have I been up to exercise and diet wise? What did that do to the scales? Tips, advice, questions, queries from all you lot in the community news. But for now, let's get straight on into the Waffle Section. Howdy and welcome back to everyone who knows me. For everyone else who doesn't, I'm Phil. Now I want to start this week's Waffle Section with something that's been creeping back into my life over the last week or two. It's something I've not experienced now for nearly 9 months since I've been on Mounjaro, and that is hunger or hunger pains or stomach rumblings, whatever you guys call it. Now I've not had these for any point during my Mounjaro journey except for the 2 to 3 week period I had where I've been on holiday and I'd not took Mounjaro deliberately to see what a little reset would do. I did get them a couple of them, but they're only small. They were tiny ones. Now over the last week or so I've been getting some fairly substantial ones, shall we say. Ones that I've had to use water and good old-fashioned determination to suppress. And I know that's the whole point of Mounjaro. It's teaching us these abilities, these new habits that, you know, in the past when I got hunger pains, I'd just eat. Now, thanks to being on this weight loss journey on Mounjaro, I have now got these, I'll say skills. I've now got the habits I put in place to go, I'm hungry. Doesn't mean I need to eat. I'll go and get some water, have a little drink, a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and I'll just forget about them. They do go away, you know, as they do, all remains do unless you're severely hungry. But yeah, I also know that's the medication doing that, and I also realised it's probably time to up my dose. It's something I've been thinking about now for a couple of weeks anyway, as I've been stuck in the 16 stone bracket for 2-3 months, maybe slightly more now. Yes, as I mentioned before, there was a couple of periods where I stopped Mounjaro, I deliberately ate junk or rubbish again to see what impact a little mini restart would have on me. But yeah, I'd expected to, now that I'm back at it and back on it, I'm exercising, I expect the weight to come up a little quicker. I know 1 to 2 pound a week's good, I understand that. I'm not saying I'm expecting to lose the 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds I was at the beginning, but I still would have thought it would have been coming down a little bit quicker. Now I know that titrating up a dose to, which will be for me 7.5, is not going to make me lose any more weight than being on 5 milligrams, but it will get rid of the hunger and the hunger pains and things like that. You know, I've never been on 7.5, I think it was a week or 2 weeks, I can't remember, I was on 7.5, then I came back down to 5 milligrams and I was short dose and half dose and split dose and whatever the actual correct terminology is. I went back to 5 milligrams every 5 days as opposed to every 7 days. So I've never actually been on 7.5 milligrams, give it a proper go. So that's like my plans are, I'm going to be doing that in the next week. So that's going to be my plans. I'm going to go to 7.5 milligrams and I'm going to start working through some of the higher doses, 7.5 milligrams, at least 10 milligrams, I think. The issue is obviously a price. It's gone up so much for all of us recently. So I'm considering potentially moving up at least to 7.5 milligrams of Mounjaro. I might go to 10 milligrams on Mounjaro too, but it could be Wegovy. I'm really considering the switch. So can I ask for a little bit of initial feedback for you guys and girls who have moved over to Wegovy? Have you found it? What's the side effects been like? Have you noticed any notable difference in hunger, food, cravings, food noise? Have you found any worse side effects, less side effects? Just give me a little bit of feedback if you can tell me how it's been, because I'm seriously considering it. I'm sure plenty of people watching this will be considering it too due to the prices. And we'd all like to know how you've all been getting on. So you can stick that in the comments, how your experience has been moving over to Wegovy from Mounjaro. That'd be fantastic. Thank you very much. Can I just say as well, if you are now thinking about switching, it's a good time to mention, I've got a link in the description below to Void, at my provider. They cover Mounjaro and Wegovy. They are a little bit pricey when it comes to Mounjaro because of the whole package you get with them. You still get that whole package on Wegovy, but you'll be on the much more competitive prices compared to other providers. So there's a link down below in the description. It's usually 25% off, but for the rest of September, if you use my code PhilYT and the link below, you'll get 30% off your first order. Now that's on Mounjaro, Wegovy, and their new longer term Wegovy plans, which you get, you sign up for 3, 6 months, I think it is, as opposed to just month to month to month, and I'll get a further discount on top of that. It makes each pen slightly cheaper. But yeah, you can sign up using my code PhilYT down below for Mounjaro or Wegovy with Voy and get a nice little discount there. Now we're going to move on to a couple of tips. So if you remember last week I mentioned we're going to cover tips in the waffle section for the foreseeable future. It might get its own section down the road, we'll see how it goes, but it's going to be like a fairly basic tip, which, you know, new people to GLP-1s mightn't be aware of. Most of us will be, but that'll cater and help them out. And it's going to be a more advanced one, or one that people, not everyone's aware of, and it's a good tip to share or remind ourselves of. Like water last week, I did have someone reach out and said, Phil, I had a headache all day. I'd forgot to drink water and I've been on Mounjaro for so long. Thanks for reminding me. So, you know, these are going to be useful for us all just to think, forgot about that. Good time for me to point out, though, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a medical profession. These are just my experiences or the experience of the community where we've shared over the last several months, and we just like to share it with all you guys. So don't take it as medical advice. you are need any medical advice, see your doctor, see your GP, see whoever provides you Mounjaro, and they can help you out there. But this basic one, it's not so much as a tip, it's more of a bit of advice to people who are newly starting Mounjaro. I had John, who is taking his first injection this Saturday coming, and he's so nervous. John, everyone else, virtually everyone else, if you know, there might be the odd one who didn't bother, but everyone else, myself included, when you're stood there for that first injection, it is nerve-wracking, and there's very little I or anyone else will be able to say that'll calm your nerves. It will be a nervous time. There's people who've left their injection for days once they've had it. There's people who've put it in the fridge and left it for weeks because they're that nervous to start it. But at the same time, like me and virtually every single one of those, once you've done that first injection, you'll put it in and you'll go, is that it? Did it do it? Have I done it right? Why didn't I feel the needle? Did the medication come out? I must have done it wrong. You haven't. Well, more than likely you haven't. You don't feel a needle. It doesn't hurt, and every injection after that will be simple. Sometimes it even gets in the way and you have to set reminders like I do to take your injection. Now, what about a little bit more of an advanced tip around the injection? And this is one you may or may not be aware of, but it's one that we've definitely talked about over the life of this channel, and it has worked for so many people. And that is, if you are experiencing side effects, try swapping your injection location. There seems to be a train of thought that, you know, if you inject left-hand side of the stomach, try the right hand. Or if that doesn't work, try your thighs or your arms. And people have seen different types of side effects. Some go from having really bad ones to none at all by moving the injection site. And some find it like moving from one place to another, it's a little bit better. Then they move it again and it's perfect. Could just be the medication and them getting used to it over time. But give it a try. If you're suffering from some side effects and you have only used the same injection site, swap to somewhere else and see how that goes. Stick it in the comments as well, just to confirm that it's worked for you if it has, because there's so many, myself included, tried this, and I did find I had a bit more energy from one location to another. There is a slight caveat to this. There's a train of thought that if you inject in the same place, once you find that good place, over and over again, the medication can become less effective. Now, we've had a bit of a back and forth, I won't say argument, we've had a back and forth about this in the comments on the videos. I've mentioned this in the past. One side is that's a load of rubbish, you can't build up any scar tissue. I think some people were saying it's, you know, the needle's too small, it wouldn't do that. But then we had the other side, and there was a lot of diabetics on there, and they agreed that this is the case. You know, your skin does toughen up slightly, becomes a little bit more used to it over time, and it can like impact the medication getting as well. So, you know, I still don't know where I fall with that. I can go in either camp. I'm probably on the camp of the people who agree it should be moved slightly, but I do like keeping it in the same place. I nearly always do it left or right hand side of my stomach. I try and alternate each week. I forget some weeks where I put it. The Voy app does actually let you know your injection site, so that's quite good. You can keep track, but that's if I always fill that in accurately as well. I do forget sometimes. But anyway, yeah, if you're having any issues, try moving your injection site and it might help with your side effects. Just to follow on from the tips, I just wanted to mention that based on last week's video going really well and people being thankful for me putting some links down below, I'm going to start including a little section which will have things like the electrolyte tablets I put on last week. It'll have the arm chest exerciser that I've been using recently. That'll be there. And you'll be able to click on the links, and I do get a small commit. I'm talking pennies for each thing you buy. Costs you no more, but they're affiliate links down below. So have a little look each week to see if there's anything down there you think, oh, that's a good thought, I didn't grab that. Or if that's what he's talking about, it'll be down there. I'm also going to do that for the equipment I'm using, so the lights, the cameras and things I'm using. I've had a few people now reach out saying, I'd love to start a channel, Phil, what's your equipment you're using? I'll put it up there. The camera is a little bit pricey. Like I said in the last week or the week before videos, I basically use the money I make for this channel to put back into the camera and stuff like that. You don't need it. Most of the original videos on this channel were made on my phone. So if you've got a decent phone, a half decent phone, you can get away with that for now and just work from there. Don't go out buying all expensive stuff. I mean, these lights were 20, 30 pounds. They're not expensive, except for this new one I bought this week. I hope the video's looking a bit better. But even that was 90 pounds. I'll link them down below. You don't have to get the best equipment. You really don't. But, you know, it's down there for those who've asked for it, and I'll keep that down there for each week. And can I just do say, if you are starting a channel, especially around Mounjaro, let us all know what it is, and we'll all come follow you and give you some support. Now, speaking of the arm chest exercise thingy-majig that I showed you all last week, just a brief one on it. I have been using it. I've been using it twice a day, once of a morning, once of an evening, or trying thereabout to do that. Not notice much of a change. There won't be any photos up for at least a few weeks. You're not going to see any change in a week. But I am noticing at yesterday's afternoon, it got slightly easier. I'm talking slightly easier. The reps got through them a little bit easier. It was a little less painful, which is obviously you'd expect if you're doing something weight resistance wise over a week. But yeah, it takes me 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, twice a day. I may do a YouTube short, or I might include it in next week's or the week after video to show exactly how I'm using it. I do 3 different sets of reps and increase the weight. Dead simple, takes me 5 minutes of morning, 5 minutes of a night. But yeah, it's hoping it's going to get rid of these moves. If you want a little YouTube short, or you'd like me to include it in next week's update video, exactly how I'm using it, give me a shout and you can see exactly how I'm using it. That's enough of that though. Now I'm going to move on to this week's highs and lows. I'm going to go straight on into hi to John. John is the reason I mentioned the basic tip earlier. As I said, John, you're about to take your first injection. It'll be tomorrow night. It's Friday night, it'll be tomorrow. So good luck with that, John. You will be nervous, as I explained before. Get it done, mate, and once you've done it, you'll think, that's it, great, I'm on the train, I'm getting there, it's my journey started. Make sure you keep us updated exactly how it's going, John. Hello to Gareth next. We've got Gareth, who has said he's been on so many different types of diets and journeys over the years. Some have been really successful for him, but in the long run, the weight's always either gone back on and increased. Now, I'm sure so many of us, myself included, can relate. You think about a great 6-12 months, and then you look 6-12 months later, or even less sometimes, and you're in a worse position you were when you started. We can all relate to that. But Gareth is feeling really optimistic since he started his Mounjaro earlier this week. Gareth, I'm sure this will work for you, mate. It's working for so many of us. It really does make a difference. It's hard to explain. And after your first week now, you've probably seen how much of a difference it is compared to normal conventional diets you'll have done. Get your water in, mate. Get plenty of exercise and walks out and about when you can. And let us know how it goes, Gareth. Hi, Bry next. Now, Bry is just 3 weeks into his Mounjaro journey and he's about to stop next week. Not totally. He is transitioning across to Wegovy after his 4 weeks due to the price hike that happened just after he got started. So, Bry, you're definitely one I was speaking to before when I say, let me know how it goes, mate. You'll have had that 4 weeks under your belt with Mounjaro. Get to Wegovy. Let us know if you see any real difference. It'd be good to see for someone who's really at the start of their journey, how much of a difference they see. For someone like me, who's been on it for 9 months now, I'm interested in seeing a different way because my weight loss has slowed right down, so I'm not expecting anything drastic with Wegovy. But you've just started, you've seen what Mounjaro can do in a month. I'll be interested to see what you think after a month of Wegovy, so keep me posted, Bri. Thanks very much. Finally this week, hi to Mark. Mark is at the beginning of his journey. I never actually planned that. I noticed all 4 highs and hellos, and it was only just as I was planning this out, I realised all 4 highs and hellos are really to be either just about to start or have just started their journey. So it's good to see so many new people following along here. Good luck, Mark. Let me know how it goes. And I'm interested, are you from Liverpool, or are you just in Liverpool to visit Broad Green, which is a top hospital, by the way? But good luck, Mark. Keep me posted, mate. And just like that, that is this week's Waffle Section over. If you want to mention in next week's Waffle Section, stick your name in the comments, potentially where you're from, a little bit about yourself, and it could be you in next week's Waffle Section. Time now, though, for this week's community news. I'm going to start this week's community news with a great little bit of advice from Lorraine, and it was based on last week's tip, or the basic tip, of not getting enough water and trying to get your minimum of 2 to 3 litres in a day. Lorraine's come up with a great little suggestion that if you are finding it difficult to get 2 to 3 litres of water in a day, which can be boring, she suggested adding a little bit of lemon juice to some of your water, not all of it, just some of it, to break it up, make it a little bit more interesting, and yeah, hopefully you'll find it a little bit easier to get through that water. So thanks, Lorraine, fantastic tip there. Next up is a great example of listening to some people's advice with experience and knowledge and listening to your own body. We've got Jack from Northumberland. Jack was on 5 milligrams and he stepped up to 7.5 milligrams and experienced some really bad side effects after not really having any on 2.5 and 5 milligrams. And after taking some advice from another YouTuber who had advised him to listen to his own body and see what it's doing and reacting to the medication and adjust yourself accordingly, he has listened and he's going back down to 5 milligrams because he just doesn't see the point in the trade-off of the additional side effects when he's getting pretty similar, suppression of 5 milligrams and 7.5 milligrams. I agree, Jack, it absolutely isn't worth it. And I also agree with whoever gave you that fantastic advice to listen to your own body. Now, next up was going to be a news story, which I can't go too much into depth for the reason being, when I clicked on it, I could read it the other day, and I've gone back into it now, and it's all been stuffed behind a paywall of the site I was reading it on. But it was a headline that said, fat jabs change the way food tastes. And basically, the high-level version of this is they were saying they did a test, or they did a survey, and a lot of people on GLP-1s are saying that they're finding foods taste a lot saltier or a lot sweeter than they originally did when they weren't on the GLP-1s. But like I said, unfortunately, I can't give you any more of that story now because I can't get back to it. I've tried a few ways, I've tried searching for it, but yeah, it's stuck behind a paywall. But it was interesting, and yeah, I don't think I've noticed anything different. If you have, stick in the comments, you're finding things much sweeter or much saltier, or both. Be interesting to find out if that is the case. Next up, and this is another little short version of a story, I'm not going to go into too much depth again, and it's a bit of a It's a bit of a theme this week, but I've got bits of stories that I'm not going to go into depth for because they could be coming down the road. But I did read a story that the daily weight loss pills have hit a breakthrough. I got really excited by that and I was going to share it with you, but then when I read the story, it has hit a breakthrough. 1 in 5 people have lost around 20% of their body weight. Now, I think if you look, Wegovy, you lose 20% roughly. I think Mounjaro is 22%, if I remember the stats correctly. But, you know, they've said 1 in 5 people have achieved that 20% loss. Now, I don't think that's much of a breakthrough. I'd want that number to be much higher myself personally. They're obviously getting it better. They're improving it. It's definitely coming down the line, but I'll cover that in more detail, I think, once they've got up to 3-4 people that are losing that amount. And it's also the same with the last little story that I want to mention. I mentioned it a couple of videos ago, and that was the rumor Eli Lilly are going to be reducing the amount of medication in the pen from, I think it was 3 milliliters to 2.4 milliliters, which meant you got exactly the right amount of dosage, which means you couldn't do the 5th or gold or extra dose, whatever you did for the orals it did. There was a lot of stories when I searched for this on the 9th of September from various outlets, so I thought that was something a bit more concrete, but again, nothing 100%, or if there is, I can't see it. So say to you guys with hand on heart that it's definitely happening. By the sounds of it though, the rumour mill is churning, and it's definitely something Eli Lilly are about to do, so unfortunately for those who do use that, you might not be able to in the future. But that is it for this week's community news. If you've got any advice you'd like to leave for others, or you've got any questions you want answering from me or the community, just tips in general, or you want to just talk about what we've already covered so far this week, stick it in the comments and we'll try and cover as much as possible in next week's update. Speaking of update, it is now time for my weekly update. Before I go through that though, if you found any of this useful, insightful, or you're just having fun and you've not already, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks. So this week's update then, I'm going to start with diet as I always do. There's nothing to write home about. There's nothing unusual, out of the ordinary. If you've been following along a while now, you'll know it's usually always chicken. There's the odd bit of tuna, chicken thighs. It's always with rice or couscous or salad. And that's made up the majority, if not all, of my evening meals, I think, this week. I can't think of anything different. Lunches with chicken salads or tuna salads with huel sometimes. And that huel might be swapped in for breakfast instead. I've had a couple of mornings with Greek yogurt and nuts and the maple syrup 0-calorie stuff. And I think I had a couple of mornings where I went without brekkie and one morning with 2 bananas and a boiled egg. Yeah, I did have that. I had a drink Saturday night. I've not been reluctant to share my drinking. It's just, I don't feel like I always feel like I get, not marked down. More comments on me having a drink. Oh, if you're going to drink, you're never going to lose weight. I've got friends who are losing lots of weight and they're drinking far more than I am. I'm sure there's plenty of you out there who are drinking and still losing weight. But yeah, I always feel like I've mentioned it, but I had a drink Saturday night. It was just Guinness and a glass of red wine with my partner. So yeah, I didn't drink for the first 4 or 5 months though, and it is making me think now a lot of weight came off then. It was flying off every week. It was still 2 or 3 pounds. Since I did start drinking again, I've struggled to lose weight. Is there a relation? Is it for me personally? It might be for others. I'm not drinking a large amount. I used to be a big drinker when I was younger. I'm not now. Is there a link for me? I mean, it's something I might look into in the future. I don't want to not drink, but we'll see. That's one for another day. That's not for this video. Exercise next then, and I've been getting a good few long walks in this week. I've been going with my partner as well. She started joining me on the walks. She's done far more than me this week actually. She's decided she wants to get out and about a little bit more too. But the main thing has been this though, and the arm chest exercise thingamajig, which, you know, pop it off, just start going guys, and I'll build up a sweat in just a good few seconds. But yeah, I've been really trying to stick to this twice a day. Sit-ups and press-ups are finally in. I've been able to do them. I just forgot to do them some days. I know that sounds terrible and people always get on me back, you know, Phil, you're running a YouTube channel, I'm not perfect, I forget. This I have done every day because it's something new. It's actually quite fun to do, just 5 minutes morning, 5 minutes of the night. Do 3 or 4 different types of ways of holding it, and that's giving me a good workout. Sit-ups 50 a day when I've done them, press-ups 50 a day when I've done them, but there have been a couple of days I've just completely forgot. I am, however, contemplating getting a walking treadmill for a home. I've had a running treadmill in the past, it takes up so much space, I don't want to be doing running. But a good few people I know now have got walking treadmills and it's something I can do. So when I want to go out on my dinner, it takes nearly an hour and a half by the time I have to go for the walk, get back, shower, my lunch. I can do that 45-minute walk in my house, jump in the shower for 5 minutes and probably save a good half an hour by the time I do that. Plus, with the weather changing now in the UK and most places, for you guys, and also we'll be getting the nice hot summer soon. Yeah, I'm just thinking, saves me getting out and about in the wet, the wind, the cold, and I can just do 45 minutes an hour every day, just walking in my extension. which would be nice. Like I said though, I'll stick a short video maybe up to how I use this, or maybe next week's update I'll show you exactly how I use it. It's 27 quid, it's linked down below, it's from Amazon. Enjoying it, hoping it's going to work, and I'm hoping my moobs are going to be gone for good. Just on to dose now, still 5 milligrams as I mentioned earlier on. It will be my last 5 milligram dose this weekend, and then I'll be moving up to 7.5 milligrams for at least 4 weeks. That might jump straight to 10 after that. I just want to see how 7.5 goes for the full 4 weeks. But we'll see what the side effects are like, because I know a lot of you have issues on 7.5. I didn't the week or two I had it, so hoping nothing this time round. Time now for this week's results, and what has this week's exercise and diet done to my weight? On Wednesday, the 10th of September last week, I weighed 16 stone 5 pounds. That's 229 pounds, or around 104 kilos. This Wednesday when I got on the scales, which is Wednesday the 17th of September, I weighed 16 stone 5 pounds. That's 229 pounds, or around 104 kilos. I've maintained. Now, I had a sneaky feeling that this might have been the case this week. As I mentioned earlier on in the last video, I had a feeling that maybe the weight, it's not much. I'm not doing loads, so don't get me back, guys. I'm not doing bench press and all that, I understand, but I have been out doing walks, exercise back on. I had a funny feeling I might maintain. Now, I haven't had any side effects, but one thing I feel bigger this week. Now, that's definitely not the arm thing. I feel a bit bloated. I think my face feels a bit bloated. My stomach definitely feels and looks bloated to myself. I won't show you all that now. But yeah, I know the exercise has been added in the resistance training, but I do feel a little bit bloated this week, and for one reason or the other. And I'm wondering if that's the impact why I've maintained. But we'll just see that, it might just be my week to maintain. So I'm feeling great though, apart from the slight bloat. It's not big, it's just I just feel bigger. But I'm happy. It's a good result to maintain. It's a great result to loss. So I've got to be happy with that. And just one more thing to mention this week, so that some of you eagle-eye viewers might have noticed. I've got my watch, as usual, on that wrist, but I've also got a Whoop strap on this. I've seen every man and his dog wearing this recently, from football players, celebrities, ex-players, blah, blah, blah. And it is meant to be really good. It's expensive. They offer a free month's trial. That's why I've got it. I've not paid for it myself. So it was 6 quid to get it delivered. It's no good at me going back. It'll cost me another 6 quid to go back. But I'm going to give it a month. Just take around 10 days to 2 weeks, I believe, to get used to your habits in your body. So at the moment, it's not really giving me nothing. So I'm a bit meh at the moment. Plus, it hasn't got a nice shiny screen like my watch has. And yeah, the shiny tech syndrome. Sorry, got distracted there by my watch. But I'll let you know what the Whoop's like in a week or so's time, and whether it's worthwhile you guys going out and getting it. As always though, if you've got anything you want to discuss in next week's video, stick it in the comments of this one. If you want to talk about anything I mentioned in this week's video, stick it in the comments. I'm still replying to every comment, or at least I think I am. Some of the older videos, I do struggle to get round to commenting on them, because those old videos have had so many views. It's mind-boggling. Crazy to think how many people have seen those videos. But yeah, if you have anything you want to talk about, anything you want to discuss, new topics that we've not covered potentially before, stick it in the comments and we'll cover it in future videos. For now though, like I said earlier on, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell, and that'll let you know when my next video is uploaded. Thanks for watching. Keep up all the hard work you're doing on your journey. If I can do this, you can do this. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.